We are talking about making sure you never blow out your voice. We're also talking about the lies that you may be believing that cause you to think you might blow out your voice. Let's get into it. I want to tell you about a client of mine, and I talk about him a lot, so you may have heard me say this before. I want you to still listen because the way that this applies today is very specific. So I have a client named Miko, who was my 2018 World Champion singer. He came to me before all of that. He came to me because he wanted to book wedding gigs, and he wasn't able to sing past about hour 2 without feeling fatigue or without suffering major consequences the next day, like having no voice, feeling raw, or feeling like he couldn't sing anything, or he would have to rearrange the songs in his set list or give some to the band to just play instrumental or do a dance number or something to give him a break because he was constantly losing his voice and he couldn't make it through a 3-hour set list. So that's what he came to me with and why he came to me. He participated, as a result of that, he participated in my 2018 vocal health case study, which was the first one that I did. After week 2, in that 5-week case study, Miko learned how to stop losing his voice for good. He learned what he was doing wrong and how to fix it after week 2. Then we worked together to prep him for an upcoming competition. This competition, he had never made it. He had won his state level, and he had placed before. I think he had placed before. I'm not even positive. Maybe he hadn't placed before. I don't remember. But he went from that to winning nationals, going on to the world level, winning worlds. And then after worlds, he went on to record an album in a studio. And here's what happened that I want to share with you. His producer, after working with Miko, asked Miko to give him my number because he wanted to call me. And he called me to thank me for the work that I did with Miko, because he had never worked with anyone before who was so gifted and talented, because Miko's insane if you don't know that already about him. But also because he was able to every single day put in 8 hours of singing full out without any vocal fatigue, without any voice loss. And he wanted to call me to thank me for this work that I did with him that allowed him to be able to do that. So that means that Miko went from being this person who couldn't go longer than about 2 hours without serious consequences to suddenly being able to sing 8 hours a day, full out every single day in a studio with absolutely no problem whatsoever. That is the kind of work that I do with my clients every day, and I've been doing for over 2 decades. This is just one example that I thought would be perfect to share with you today. So at the beginning of this, I asked you if you wanted to stop worrying about blowing out your voice and wondering if you were going to blow it out and having vocal superpowers on top of that. So this is one of the biggest myths that I've found about vocal health. That if you prioritize vocal health, if you prioritize making sure that you're staying vocally healthy, that you're going to compromise your singing and in what you can do in your singing. So that's one of the biggest myths out there, that people think, I don't want to do that because I don't want to compromise anything about the way that I'm singing. But I have found that over the past 2 decades, that what happens instead is that singers discover they can do so much more with their voices and in their singing once they prioritize vocal health. So rather than taking away, they actually are able to do more. That's what we're going to talk about today. So we're going to talk about what prioritizing vocal health is and what prioritizing vocal health is not, because there's a lot of misinformation out there. So let's talk about these 3 common things that I hear people say that are complete myths, complete lies, and we'll break them down why they are that way and what is actually the truth. So number 1, I hear this all the time. I deal with the effects of vocal fatigue and losing my voice because I don't want to sound too trained or too perfect. I want to still sound like me. Do you have a fear that if you prioritize taking care of your voice, that you're going to suddenly sound too perfect or too trained or too not like yourself? So singers a lot of times have this concern because they perceive that certain style elements that they like to do, like things like growls or screams or being loud, are inherently bad for their voices. And here's the thing, when those kinds of things are done without any kind of guidance on how to do them in a healthy way, well then yeah, it is a problem. However, all of those things can be done healthily and sound just as cool as if you weren't doing them healthily. When you practice vocal health the right way, you can do all of those things and not suffer any consequences. So as long as you learn how to do them safely, you can do them. There are safe ways to do them and not safe ways to do them. So one of the great things about vocal health and practicing is that when you learn the proper way to do it, it allows you to do what you want to do longer and safer without compromising the way that you sound. So let's talk about number 2. So the number 2 thing that I hear people say all the time that is total myth, total lie, is vocal health means that I'm going to have to sing in my head voice, and I hate that. I hear this all the time. So the reason that singers have this concern and perpetuate this myth is that all they have seen, heard, and experienced so far is that singers who don't lose their voices don't sound like they want to sound. So these healthy singers aren't singing things like rock and country and pop. They're singing stuffier music like opera and musical theater, and that's why they're able to save their voices and they're not losing it all the time, right? And that is not how they want to sound. So they just assume, oh, well, I don't want to sound like that, so I have to deal with this, right? But here's the thing. When vocal health is learned properly, singers learn why singing in the head voice is not only not how the sound that they want, because God, I don't want you to sound like that either, but it's actually not a healthy or safe way to sing contemporary music. So once you learn how to do it properly, you learn that, oh, no, I don't want to be in my head voice. Absolutely not, right? So that's usually a big shocker to people. Anyone shocked by that? Okay, let's talk about my last one for today. Myth number 3, the thing that I hear all the time. This is a big one, which we talked about a little bit. I don't want to be limited in what I can sing because I'm prioritizing staying vocally healthy. I would rather deal with voice loss every once in a while. You hear that all the time. So singers develop the belief that taking care of their voice means compromising singing how they want to sound or what they want to sing. And I compare this to the diet industry, the fitness industry. Most people don't want to go on a diet or start working out because they don't want to change how they eat. And they don't want to change how they eat because they don't want to feel restricted. They don't want to be walking around saying, I can't, blah, 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 blah. Right? And so they just automatically equate that kind of restriction with vocal health. Healthy singing is equated to healthy eating and a lifetime of restriction. And that is how this myth is perpetuated. But true vocal health that prevents voice loss and vocal fatigue actually increases what you can do vocally. It gives you the ability to sing higher, to sing longer, to sing louder, to sing more difficult music. The number one benefit that my clients report upon learning how to sing healthily and never lose their voices again is that all of a sudden there's this whole library of songs that they couldn't sing before that now is available to them. Which means that practicing vocal health the right way actually removes restriction. It doesn't create restriction. It gives you the ability to do more, not less. So if you are ready to stop feeling restricted, if you're ready to amplify how cool you sound and be able to do it without suffering the consequences of vocal fatigue or voice loss, then I want you to check out the free training I did last week on the secret to never losing your voice. It is a free training, like I said, and it is jam-packed with helpful information and tips. So here's a little bit of what you get. So you're going to get a quick check-in to see what lies you actually are believing about your voice and about staying vocally healthy. So it'll be a quick little reality check of like, oh, what are you believing that maybe isn't quite true? Then you'll learn the top 3 myths, different than the ones I shared with you today, the top 3 myths about singing and how they relate to vocal health. Then you'll learn why the singing industry is perpetuating these myths and lies. Why is it that this keeps going on? And then you'll learn what to do about it in order to start your path to unlimited vocal health. You'll get some tips, some helpful tips on where to start so that you can start having unlimited vocal health yourself. So in the description above, you'll see the link that you can click. I will pop it into the comments when I get back to Facebook out of Zoom. But you'll want to visit that link to check it out. And when you go there, you're going to see a quick little preview video that'll show you little clips from the training itself. And then there'll be a place for you to enter your name and your email address. So when you plug that information in, you're going to receive an email from me that'll give you access to this free training. I hope that you take advantage of that and share it with other people. Let other people get access to this video as well. If you know someone who needs this, please, if you haven't already, share this video out or tag them so that they know to get this resource. It's going to be so helpful. Like I said, there's a lot of misunderstanding in the singing community about what it means to sing healthily or to sing at all. And I want to dispel that. I have a huge passion for this. I want you to stop believing the lies. Stop buying into those lies and myths and get started on your path toward never losing your voice again. Thank you so much, everybody. I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day and weekend ahead, and I will see you out there soon.